At this time, if everyone could stand, and Mrs. Barbara Miller will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Mr. Pittman, if you want to give some of us the oath.
Thank you. Welcome to the new board members. It's my understanding, Mr. King, you've already been sworn in at another ceremony, is that correct?
Yes.
Before today, so Mr. King's already duly sworn. Mr. Parsley, Ms. Collier, and Ms. Miller, you'll stand. Swear you in. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Kirsten Miller,
Solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the laws of the United States and the State of Indiana.
and the laws of the United States and the State of Indiana.
I will faithfully execute the duties of my office
I will faithfully execute the duties of my office
as a member of this governing body.
as a member of this governing body.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All right, we will move on to persons to address the board relative to the agenda. Just one? Okay, thank you. Ms. Kayla Hoffman.
Hello, friends. Kayla Hoffman, Kentucky Hollow Road, Bedford. I just wanted to take a minute to, I guess, publicly congratulate the new board members. Obviously, it was no secret who I was campaigning for, and I'm happy to say that 3 of the 4 are now seated on the board, and I also want to acknowledge that one of the others is in the audience today, and I just wanted to say that, first of all, while I'm thinking about that, I hope that that you, as the board and the new board members, will recognize those of us who really put forth effort into bringing light to issues and situations. I know you've all heard from me before, and the new board members included. I also wanted to publicly say that while the candidates that I campaigned for did get elected, and I've told all of you this before too, but that doesn't mean that I'm giving you a free pass. And I'm not like, some dictator or something that everything depends on me, but my perspective on things, as I'm sure you all know, has been just accountability, transparency, and forward progression in a good direction. And I'm just thankful for those of you that are sitting on the board. Kirsten, congratulations on your reelection.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to say that. I also wanted to make mention that about a month ago, I don't know who knows what. I did file a formal complaint with the public access counselor. I don't know who the president's going to be at this time, but that's who that was addressed to. So I just wanted to say whatever the outcome of that is, whatever his opinion is on anything, I would definitely like to still have dialogue with whoever the president's going to be, just so I can communicate some of the issues that I found that came up, and I'd rather just talk it out, to be perfectly honest, whoever that happens to be. So I just wanted to make mention of that, but again, congratulations, and hopefully we have a good year. Thanks.
Thank you. Oh, one more. Lacey Hawkins. Lacey. Oh, there she is.
Oh. So I apologize.
You had to enter through the door.
I just walked right by him. So, good evening. I'm Lacey Hawkins, social studies teacher at BNL and NLEA, North Lawrence Education Association president. I've made it a goal as a representative of teachers to try to address the board about monthly with a brief update on some of the positive things our teachers are doing. I've half-jokingly called these my State of the Union updates. Tonight, though, I only wanted to welcome the new board members to your positions and say that I look forward to working with you and hearing about your vision for continuing to build NLCS and work with the 4 experienced board members. I would be lying to say I'm not a little worried about the current situation here. My love for NLCS runs deep. I've been employed as a social studies teacher for 14 years, but it would also be true to say that I have been with North Lawrence for 34 years. Because I started at Parkview in kindergarten in 1988 and graduated from BNL in 2000, subbed, and then was hired to my current position. Many of you, I know, have deep ties here as well, and I hope that you will make every decision with care and considerable forethought for your impact. As a history teacher, I often find myself pointing out the numberless times in human history when emotionally compromised people have made bad decisions. Emotions are a good thing. Emotions show that we're human and that we care about things. I worry, though, that the campaign that brought our newest board members was an emotional one. And now an enormous task falls to you to take a deep breath because our brains function best when they have oxygen. And shoulder the responsibility for making decisions that will impact the students and employees for the foreseeable future. I appreciate that each of you has chosen to run for this position, and I hope that the new board members, as you transition to your new positions, that your focus will truly be to serve and represent. Not a loud minority of keyboard warriors on social media, but the whole of our community. You'll be tasked with managing our vision, budget, personnel, and in October, we will sit down with the superintendent and negotiate the teacher contract for the 2023-2025 contract. These are difficult times for public education. I'm hopeful that each of you will rise to the occasion. You've got tremendous work cut out for you. It is vitally important to all of us that you make each of these decisions with careful consideration, thorough research, and a true vision for our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Lacey.
Is there anyone else that has public comment? And I apologize, I omitted to read our opening statement, but I'll go ahead and do it now before we get started on the reorganization session. That this meeting is a meeting of the school board and public for the purpose of conducting the school corporation's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There may be time for public participation as indicated by agenda item or as directed by the president. The meeting site is fully accessible. Any person requiring further accommodation should contact the superintendent at the school corporation central office. The meeting will be electronically recorded and will be kept on file in the superintendent's office, and a copy of the audio recording will also be available on the NLCS website. So at this time, we'll go ahead and move into the reorganization session. Dr. Mungle.
First up, everyone, first I wanted to congratulate. I know we did have an opportunity to meet, but I wanted to publicly welcome all of the new board members. And first up, board members, we have the election of president, so I would bring that to the board for nominations.
I move to elect Wendy Miller as NLCS Board of School Trustees President.
Mr. King makes a motion to nominate Wendy Miller as president.
Second that motion.
You don't need a motion and a second to nominate.
Okay.
Just make nominations.
Okay.
I would like to nominate Kirsten Collier. And just a side note to that, it was common practice many years that I was on the board the first time when Jeff was there, that it was always it went from chair to chair to chair. I think somewhere along the last 4 years we got away from that. I think it gives continuity to it. It lets those that have been in the chairs move to the next spot and allow them to have that experience of what it means to be in the executive board. So with that, I make a recommendation that Kirsten Collier be president of the board.
nominations? Okay, seeing none, so do we just vote on each one?
Make a motion to close nominations.
Okay.
I will make a motion, close the nominations.
Is there a second for that motion?
Second.
So Jeff Lombrick made the motion to close nominations. I believe it's Wendy Miller made the second on that. Do we have to vote to
Yeah,
close
vote.
nominations?
Yeah,
Sorry,
vote,
it has
vote.
been a minute since we have done this. So all in favor of closing nominations signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. So now then we vote on each, do we just do each one individually?
However you choose to do it, but yeah, you can have a raise of hands, or, well, actually, you need to do roll call because he's remote, so you have to do roll call on each vote.
Okay,
So you can make them, have some, all those in favor of
okay, so we'll
Ms.
start.
Miller.
Okay, all those in favor of Ms. Miller as president, raise your hand. All right, so let the record reflect that, let's see, if you could leave your hands up Mr. King, is voting in favor, Mr. Parsley is voting in favor, Wendy Miller's voting in favor, and Barbara Miller's voting in favor. So, that motion carries, and Wendy Miller is now our president. Do you want to finish the meeting,
Is that
or
the-
do you want me to finish it?
It's up to-
It's up to you. You're now the president.
I'll do it. Do I have to move? Can I just sit here? Okay. Okay. Well, thank you. So, moving on, do you, Ty, want to?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
We can go.
So, I would open the floor for nominations for vice president.
I nominate Adam Parsley.
Okay. Any other nominations?
I would nominate Kirsten Collier.
Okay. So, just for the record, Barb Miller nominated Adam Parsley, Tracy Bailey nominated Kirsten Collier. Any other nominations? Okay, then I would take a motion to close
So
nominations.
moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of closing nominations signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries 7-0. So we will start with Mr. Parsley. All those in favor of Mr. Parsley for vice president, please signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
Okay, so for the record, that would be Mr. King, Mr. Lombrick, Mr. Parsley, both Millers were aye for that, so that motion carries, and Mr. Parsley is our vice president. Okay, and now I would take nominations for secretary of the board.
I nominate Scott King as secretary for the board.
Okay, so Adam Parsley nominated Scott King. Any other nominations? Okay, I would take a motion to close nominations for secretary.
I'll nominate to close the motion.
Okay, and a second.
Second.
Okay, so Barb made the motion. I'm going to give it to Jeff. Made the second. All those in favor of closing nominations for secretary, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Okay, that motion carries. Even though it's just one nominee, we have to still vote. Okay. So all those in favor of making or naming Scott King the secretary, please signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that was a unanimous vote of yes. So that passes, and Scott King is now our secretary. So that's the end of the officers, and now we have appointments for treasurer, deputy treasurer, attorney, and some other various positions and liaisons. So I would first take a motion to appoint Robin Muter as our treasurer.
So moved.
Okay, Ms. Collier makes the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Lombrick makes a second. Any discussion on this motion?
Are these appointments for a duration of what time frame?
1 year.
1 year.
1 year.
We can come back next year.
Any other discussion? Okay, those in favor of appointing Robin Muter as treasurer, please signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Okay, that passed unanimously, so that motion carries. And now appointment of deputy treasurer, Cameron Fender. So I would take a motion to appoint Cameron Fender as deputy treasurer for a period of 1 year.
So moved.
Mr. Lawbrick makes the motion.
A second.
Scott King makes a second. So the motion on the floor is to appoint Cameron Fender as deputy treasurer. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Okay, 7 yeses, so that motion does carry. Okay, moving on, the next item, number 6, is appointment of attorney, the Pittman Law Firm. I would entertain a motion to appoint Pittman Law Firm as the school board attorney.
So moved.
Ms. Collier makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Lawbrick makes a second. Any discussion on this motion?
Madam President, I would move that we abbreviate the duration of the appointment and amend the motion to 1 month versus 1 year for the appointment of the Pittman Law Firm for the attorney for NLCS.
So for an amendment, we would have to have a second.
I'll second.
And then we would have to vote on the amendment. So all those in favor of the amendment happening to the original motion, please signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay.
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 So Tracy Bailey, Mr. Lombrick, Ms. Collier, nay. So now we have to vote on the amended motion. So the motion on the table is to amend the amended motion is that we would appoint the Pittman Law Firm for a 1-month term to represent the NLCS school board. All those in favor of this motion, please signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Please say nay. No. Okay, so that motion carries. Next, we have appointment of an Indiana School Board Association liaison, which would be a board member, so I would open it up for nominations to that position.
I would nominate Scott King for that position.
Okay, are there any other nominations for that position? Okay, I would take a motion to close nominations.
So moved.
And second?
I'll second it.
Okay, so Mr. Lombrick made the motion. I'll give Barb Miller the second. So all those in favor of Scott King serving as the Indiana State Board Association liaison, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Okay, motion carries. Appointment to the Park Board, I would open it up for nominations to that Park Board.
I will nominate Tracy if he'll still accept. Tracy Bailey.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay, any other nominations for Park Board? Okay, I would make a motion, or I would take a motion to close nominations.
Second.
Who moved? Mr. Parsley made the motion, Mr. King seconded. So all those in favor of appointing Tracy Bailey to the Park Board, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
So any opposed, please say nay. So that was unanimously carries. Appointment to this one that we have to add.
Redevelopment Commission.
Okay, so it's not on the agenda, but it should be. So I would entertain nominations to the Lawrence County Redevelopment Commission. And it's a school board member.
I nominate Tracy Bailey.
Okay, any other nominations? Okay, I would take a motion to close nominations.
So it.
Mr. King makes the motion, second.
Good.
Barb makes, seconds. Okay, so all those in favor of appointing Tracy Bailey as the Lawrence County Redevelopment Commission, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries unanimously. And appointment to the Boys and Girls Club, I would take nominations for board member for that appointment.
I nominate Barb Miller to represent Boys and Girls Club.
Okay, so one nomination for Barb Miller. Any other nominations to that? Okay, I would entertain a motion to close nominations for appointment to the Boys and Girls Club. Mr. Parsley moves. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Lombrick makes a second. All those in favor of appointing Barbara Miller to the Boys and Girls Club, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so that passes unanimously. And then, this is a long one. Appointment of our superintendent, Dr. Mungle, as representative for the Southern Indiana Education Center, the Education Service Center Risk Fund Trust, and the Southern Wellness Trust. I would take, I guess, is it a motion? Or a nomination? Because there's nobody else that we can nominate.
Yeah, it should have been a motion.
So it should be,
Okay.
so I would entertain a motion for number 10, the appointment of Dr. Mungle as a rep for SIEC, ESCRFT, and the Southern Wellness Trust.
So moved.
Kirsten Collier makes the motion, Barb Miller seconds. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion on the table, which is to appoint Dr. Mungle as representative to those listed in number 10, please signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Okay. That passes unanimously.
And Mrs. President, on item number D, I know it does say the approval of the meeting dates. I've provided those to you, but I'm more than happy, I think, for us to review those, and then we could adopt those dates at our board meeting in 2 weeks from tonight. Just in case anybody didn't have any conflicts, or if you want to check your calendars. I do know on that the third Thursday in December, I believe, was the 21st, which is like our very last day of school right before Christmas. So if we wanted to move it up a week, we could. But we don't necessarily need approval of those dates. So my intentions was to kind of just review them.
So we don't need to,
And I missed that.
we can talk about it in executive, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay.
And I think have time to review, and then we'll approve it in 2 weeks.
Okay. Any other discussion about that? So then the closing business would be our upcoming meetings, which we're going to discuss in executive session that immediately follows this. If there are any changes to that, it will be on our website so that, and also advertised so that the public can attend any public meetings. So I would then take a motion.
But we will have our next meeting on January 19th.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and share that now, 2 weeks from tonight.
I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Lombrick makes a motion, a second.
Second?
Mr. King seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. Thank you.